what will have been happening throughout yesterday afternoon and through the night is that the crime scene will have been examined. They'll be looking to see if any shell casings from the bullets that were fired can be retrieved and if any forensic evidence will be forthcoming from those. But moreover, there will have been a huge CCTV trawl because, of course, this part of central London has got almost blanket CCTV coverage. We know that a vehicle was involved in the crime, so they will have been trying to trace the movements of that vehicle both before and after the shooting, not only using CCTV, but also automatic number plate recognition cameras, of which there is a network throughout the UK. So that will be the primary focus of the investigation, and I would fully expect there to be a press conference today when I would imagine a very tired detective will be asking people to check their dash cams, for example, on their vehicles if they were anywhere near the location of that crime yesterday afternoon, just after 1 p.m, to see if they can notice anything on there. And the inquiry will, of course, be very, very fast-moving as they try to solve this abysmal crime.
Yeah, as you say, it is a shocking crime in and of itself, and surprising, especially given that the number of firearm offences in London, for 21-22, it was 1,071. That's half the number 4 years ago.
Yes, something from which we can take some comfort in the overall picture of things, but that's no comfort to those affected by this ghastly crime. We ought to reinforce that, fortunately, multiple shootings are a rarity, but that doesn't take away from the fact that we have a 7-year-old child fighting for their life this morning. And, of course, my thoughts are with that young child and all the medical team doing everything for her. This is somewhat unusual, shooting following a memorial service or a funeral close to a church. The police, of course, will be looking at the people who were the subject of that memorial service. Is there some link? Is there some form of revenge connected to this attack? But I think a lot more will become clear when we undoubtedly hear from the police at a press conference today.
And Peter, for so many people looking and reading and hearing these headlines today, it will feel scarily familiar to Olivia Pratt-Corbell, the 9-year-old little girl who was shot dead in Liverpool, caught in the crossfire, and Elle Edwards, in her 20s, shot dead on Christmas Eve. I mean, it does feel as though gun crime in this country was once a rarity. You'd rarely hear about it. It's becoming more and more familiar.
These tragedies occur when firearms get into the hands of unscrupulous and untrained criminals. That's why it is so important that if anybody ever hears any kind of information about who may be in possession of a weapon, that they report it to the police. Now, I know there's an issue about trust in the police at the moment, but you know what? Those kind of concerns have to be put to one side, because when villains get their hands on guns, tragedy so often follows.
How is this fixed, Peter? I mean, some would say crime on the streets is clearly out of control. Is it more police on the street? Is it more stop and search? Or is this just a societal problem?
Sadly, many criminals want to lay their hands on guns because violence is a currency amongst criminality. Because so often what they're doing is crime, so they can't settle their disputes by going to a court, for example, or exchanging solicitors' letters. They have to resort to violence. That's their currency. That's how they deal with things. So it's absolutely crucial that the police and the public join up together to ensure that when we hear about firearms being in circulation, the police get to know about it and they can make arrests and take these weapons off the streets. It always ends in tragedy when crooks lay their hands on guns, and I know that the police will be doing everything they possibly can in connection with this inquiry, but beyond that, in covert operations that we hear nothing about until such time as villains are arrested and firearms are seized. Crooks and guns is always a dreadful, dreadful mix.